Hey everybody, Gears here, and today I'm going to be doing a little work on the car and on the droid. In particular today, I want to finally deal with this patch of silver. I really ruined it by going over it with a hand sander, Makita. So I'm going to give this a new coat of silver and see how that turns out. I'm also thinking about taking a lot of black and a lot of thinner, making up a wash, and throwing a sponge in that, and then just going to town all over the body to get it really, really dirty and blackish. We'll see how that goes. I didn't wash it first. I probably should have. And one other thing I'll do is get some pictures of all the dirt patterns that are on the car, because I really like what's going on here. And none are really too visible up here. It's a little too bright out. It's been gray all morning, as you can see up in the sky there, but now the blue is coming in. So I missed my window for a nice cool morning to do this on, unfortunately. So let me get back to you in a second. And over here on the dome you can see that I've got the eye on. I had to do a little extra patching. I detail all that in a video I did over the last couple days, so let's insert that here. So as the droid is going to be on theoretically the outside of the car, I don't want anything flying off at high speeds, especially something as heavy as this piece of resin. So the idea here is to mark off the area, put the drill points in there, and I am going to screw it in from the back side. So next up I'm going to tack this down with a little glue, probably epoxy. I've got some 5-minute stuff on hand. Then from the back side, put some drill holes into the resin, and then take those few little screws right there and screw them in. I'm wishing I had some larger washers on hand, but I don't, so we'll see how that goes. Anything else I'm forgetting about? I guess not. There's a lot of resin in the air, so I'm going back under the respirator. When the direction said 5 minutes epoxy, it's probably 5 minutes to fully cure. Well, it's probably like 24 hours to fully cure. But this is pretty much set in just a minute or two, being able to lift them up and down just like that. So I am ready to go with screwing in the back. One other thing that kind of surprised me a little is that I now have gaps again at the edges, so those are going to have to be filled in. I had used Ava's epoxy, which is a no shrink, no expansion kind of thing. However, sitting out in the sun for so long, I imagine the entire piece just pretty much slowly warped over time. So I'll have to keep an eye on that, as this will be sitting in the sun for the rest of its life. So next up is taking the drill and putting some screws in. So today at least what I want to do is sand all this down, and I hate to lose all the silver again, but this is the only primer I've got left on hand without spending money, and I'd rather not spend any money at this point. A couple other things I have on hand here is some leftover Model Master rattle cans, so I'm going to mask off a few squares of the car and finish these off. That's almost probably half, barely anything, quarter, barely anything. So a few panels will get some very custom grays. Maybe I'll do that one right there on the ass. That should be nice and easy. I don't have a lot of newspapers either to do any blocking off, so I'm kind of limited in that regard as well. So let's see how today goes. So I blocked that off. It's definitely nice and new. Navy Aggressor Gray. I hadn't realized that that was the dominant color. I thought it was going to be a much darker gray like that patch there. And then over on this side, as the can sputtered out, I kind of sprayed it around here and there. It's not too obvious until you get to that line right there. This definitely looks a lot nicer now that it's been done over. I should have sanded it first, but it works. And my black wash experiment kind of fizzled out. I ran out of black. I didn't have a lot to begin with. I brought a few unmarked cans that turned out to be white, so that was no good. And I will have to redo a lot of this streaking later on. Did a little up here, but it's not very obvious. Did some back here. I don't know where all the crud came from. It was in the sponge or in the bucket. But a streak like that, I definitely like. If I can get a lot of that going all over the body, that's definitely going to be good. One other thing I was thinking I should have brought today was the airbrush, so that I could put some rust marks on it in a lot of places. So we'll see if I do that tomorrow or later in the week or some other time. Coming up this Saturday, one of the reasons why I'm doing this now to get some work done is that it's the R2 Build Day LA, or the R2 LA Build Day. Either way, it's happening, and I'll have a lot of video. I'll try and interview a few of the guys and see what they're doing with their droids. And yeah, so back over to this guy. I think it's time to do some sanding. So I'd say one of the best things about this design is that because it's broken into so many small pieces, whenever I want to do a repair, change a color, or anything like that, it's a simple matter of masking off one section and repainting. Of course, I'm going to have to reintegrate this with the black airbrush, but that's not going to be that big a deal. So as damage goes by and time goes on, this is going to be a really good design to work with. So if you ever find yourself working on an R2 dome and your table's kind of set low, or it's an awkward angle, or you're worried about flexing the dome too much, just stick them on the end of a garbage can. This is working really great. If this was my garbage can, I'd cut it off right about there, get some shoulders for him that are just about that tall, and that's how he'd go straight into my back seat, basically. A little bit of styrene towards the top so it doesn't quite bow out towards the bottom. Even them out. That's that. So let's get some sanding done. You know, I could almost live happily with him exactly like this. I love all the faded color. I think it really gives it a lot of life. All the texture going on everywhere. And every time I think I've chosen the color scheme I want, I see something like this and I have no idea what I want to do anymore. But I'm thinking I really like the yellow a lot. It's going to go really well with the silver. So I think that's going to be the color scheme. However, brass and silver would really kick ass too. And back at home, I've got a reference picture of a red dome with silver pie wedges that I really love, and a couple days ago I thought that was going to be the color scheme. Here's a look at the reference that I was going to use for my droid. I really love the look of that. Now I just don't know. I'm thinking yellow and silver. Just say it over. Yellow and silver. Yellow and now seeing this, I just don't know anymore. But I think my heart's set on yellow and silver. So what I'll be doing, yes, that's right, is giving it yet another coat of primer. The sun has gone away again, which has been really nice on the lack of heat and burning going on. But this is going to take a long time to dry. I might have to come back tomorrow for this one. Which is not a problem at all, but I would love to keep working on this right now and get some paint on it. I think with the car, that's pretty much done for today. I'm going to have to go through my paint stash at home and see how much black I've got around, because I really want to give this an overall body wash. Because if I get some really good densities of black dripping all over the place, it's really going to look good. Yeah, this side just really doesn't. Well, I really like the drips right there. That's something to layer up over time. But the streaks I've got going on here, because this is when I was running out, I just don't like those at all. And I think I've decided that I'm going to put the proton torpedo bays right in here somewhere. I'd rather have them up on the nose, somewhere in that area. just because they were further along than the cockpit on the actual ship, if you want to call it an actual ship. But I think that will work as well. If I had an old 380Z or a 280Z rather, with a nice long nose, that could make a really good X-Wing. Looking at Red 2 on my references, the nose is definitely gold. There's gold along the stripes at the back, but I think I'm not going to worry about that. I would like to redo the front to some degree here, especially the lower area there, but that is definitely for another day, someday. The decals, several weeks later, are holding up really well. I'm kind of surprised at how good they're doing here, but they melted in really nice. I definitely credit the Salva set for that. And just can't scratch that off. There is one set of decals though. Let's go over here to this side. These little guys here can be scratched off to a large degree. Not all of them. Well, that might be it. It's just the edges were a little loose. But those are definitely on there. But you can see running my nail straight over that guy there. That's not going anywhere. As soon as I build more models, I'll definitely put some more decals on all over the place. One decal I am regretting is this little Star Trek guy here, because from a distance, any kind of distance, it just looks like an exclamation point. And I don't really want that. But there's really no... I may be able to start scratching it off sometime. That really just does not want to go off. So that's really good in that regard. I had been thinking I was going to repaint this yellow, but I really like the way this is fading. And it turns out it's not really fading, it's actually just a year's worth of weathering. Taking this to a car wash does not do it. Hitting it with a scrub brush does not do it, but sit here and really polish it and you can make it clean. Of course, that's not my intention here. I really like the fading going on, and I kind of wish the rest of the car would get some of that going too. But it parks in a carport every night, so it never really gets a chance to fade in the sun. And of course, the lower the colors are, the greater the angles, the less likely they are to fade. I don't know where, if you can actually see this. I can't because of the reflections going on. But there are little dark spots all along this area that I really like a lot. Don't know where they came from. Well, it looks like they wash off. And I like some of the fading going on in here. Looks like all these little dark spots here may have, I can probably scrub all that off, I bet, over time. That'll come off, definitely. And the silver, like I said, I should have definitely sanded it down for a final good time, but I'm happy with that the way it is. And I think that's it for today's work. It's only a couple hours at most. Not being able to do the black wash definitely slowed things down today, but I definitely got some good effort going on here with R2. I'm going to have to throw a few bucks down on some yellow paint, some masking tape, and go from there. Yeah, that's definitely it for today. Let's dump his eye out there. He's crying a little. Oh yeah. Dagobah all over again. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. See ya.